Hi, Ray Hayden here, and this video is going to be about sand and sandbags. Right now, I'm making a sandbag wall on our property, and I'll make a standalone video for the purpose and reasoning and all that and everything on that. But just to say here that I'm making a sandbag wall, and I purchased, my wife and I, misdemeanor, purchased sand and sandbags in order to create this sandbag wall. Let's go ahead and show you that down there. It's 2 sandbags deep. It's going to be another row of sandbags out front here. We'll talk about that again in this standalone video about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and everything else. Now, the other thing about this, not related to sandbags, is our neighbor's goats are on our property right now. They're over by the barn. I'm not going to spin the camera around because it's too hard for me to see what's going on and everything with that. But the goats are out there having their unlimited salad bar. And I noticed a little while ago there were 2 red-tailed hawks flying around the property too. They actually, I think they live here in the trees in the back area of the property. And I like seeing them here. So the red-tailed hawks are here, the goats are here, some crows are flying around here. There's a woodpecker on our property over here every now and then. I don't think he lives here, but he or she, as the case may be. But it looks like Woody Woodpecker, the cartoon version of it. He's that coloration. There's different kind of woodpeckers with different colors. But this woodpecker actually looks like the Woody Woodpecker, right? So, with the red and all that and everything else. Real beautiful bird. Every now and then I see him, the bird flying around here, and it's just great to see that. Saw him the other day. Him or her, as the case may be, all right? So anyways, let's get into the sands and sandbags. I'm going to mention companies, prices, things like that and everything else. This is not a sponsored video, right? Nobody's paying me anything for this. I'm just giving you information about it. And the reason why I decided to do this is because of how I'm doing it and why I'm doing it, and also in some reviews that we read. Of course, we're going to go and check the reviews, look at things, find things, and make a full evaluation of if we want to go a certain route or another. So I'll talk about different ways you can do this. Number one, if you have sand on your property, or where you can get free dirt or whatever like that, and somebody says, here, come load up your truck or trailer or whatever, we got all this extra dirt, as much as you want, as much as you need. If that happens to be in your area, that's fine, your job is done. If you need to put it in sandbags, that might be a different story. Get the dirt, bring it to your property, load up your sandbags from there, and do as you must. But for me, I wanted very, very clean, washed, filtered, screened, I guess they call it, sand, and I want it very clean, free of any debris, no rocks, no sticks, no garbage in it whatsoever. Had to be really pristine, clean sand to the best of our ability, right? So that's what we did. We could have bought a truckload of sand, right? And the minimum order is 10 tons. So we could have got 10 tons of sand, but each one of these pallets behind me has 2 sandbags. They're very, very large bags. They're filled with sand. They got 1,000 pounds. Now, using United States weights and measures, 1,000 pounds of sand per bag. Each pallet has 2 bags on it. That's 2,000 pounds. 2,000 pounds in American standards is 1 ton. So there's 1 ton of sand. We got 4 pallets. That's 4 tons of sand. So we bought 4 tons of sand, which is dramatically less than the 10 tons of sand that was a minimum order. It's roughly about the same price for the 10 tons delivered by a truck or for these 4 tons delivered from the local big box store. I'm going to tell you who they are. Number one, it's Home Depot is where we bought this from. I looked around in different places and everything else, but I found these bags by accident looking in building materials for professionals or whatever that aren't going to buy 10 tons of sand, but they might want to buy 1 or 2 tons of sand. So here's how you can get it. Costs a little more that way, but you don't have to buy a minimum order, right? So each one of these bags is from Titan America, and it's materials, and they're pretty clean sands. They come in these bags that are very, very sturdy, very strong. They have straps on them. You can use a forklift or whatever to pick these things up with if you do it the right way, follow the instructions on the bag, and you move these around. I can move them around with my tractor if I wanted to, but Home Depot's delivery guy, a contracted delivery company, dedicated delivery company, actually put them exactly where I wanted them to be so I could work on this sandbag wall, all right? Now, let me talk about the sand. Now, that's Home Depot, Titan America sand. Oh, by the way, each 1,000 pounds is like 30 bucks, all right? So each pallet is like $60, and then you have to add in, it was $80, about $79, $80 for delivery, okay? So the delivery charge and all that, it was faster, efficient, time is money. It was easier for me to get that delivered right here to our property rather than for me to go, misdemeanor and I to go back and forth, picking up truckloads of, because we can only carry 1,000 pounds at a time in our pickup truck. It's carrying load in the truck itself. It can trailer a lot more, but carrying load in the truck itself is less than 2,000 pounds. People, materials, stuff like that. So if that's 2,000 pounds, our weight of fuel and everything else, we're going to be exceeding the weight of the safety for the truck. So we would have to rent a trailer to get 2 bags. And so you get into rentals and how many trips you got to make and everything else. Plus I have to remove them from a trailer or the back of the truck. It's not worth it. So I just had somebody deliver them, save time, money, safety, and all that and everything else. Now the other thing I want to talk about is an Ace Hardware purchase that we made. And I'm saying the name of the store because I read reviews online. Misdemeanor and I both look for these things, and we found the most cost-effective, efficient, and everything else with good reviews. Research and reviews the best we can, and hopefully they're real reviews from real people and not some kind of a fake thing going on. And we found these Halstead. These are made in India. The bags are made in India, and they're distributed through Halstead, and they're from Cranberry, New Jersey. All right, and got their full address on there. It's kind of funny, and their website, right? But anyways, and they show different uses that for these particular sandbags. This is kind of more like what I'm doing. I'm making a wall, but not for water. I'll make a standalone video on why I'm making this thing up. Now there's 25 bags in here. Now when we were researching these, we made the mistake that we thought there were only 15 bags in this bag of bags, right? There's 25 bags in here, which makes them even more cost effective and efficient than we thought. It's almost like having 10 free bags, right? Per order, right? So we went and bought a whole bunch of these from Ace Hardware, and here's the reason why. The reviews are good, okay? The reviews on the bags are good. People like the bags and everything else. One review that I actually put the most value in mentioned that these ties, which are built in, they have a hole in the side of the bag, and this is woven polypropylene, whatever, a woven polypropylene bag, right? So it's kind of like ripstop pants, if you're familiar with that. Okay, it's that kind of an idea with it. However, I find that if this thing here gets a rip in it, it's going to continue to rip, right? So, you know, but it'll rip along the line. Anyway, so somebody made a note that these ties on here were they were a little flimsy, okay? Now, it was an older review. I mean, the review was probably, you know, right on, dead on, you know, correct, everything else, but it was an older review. It's a couple years old. So these bags, I got to say, the ties are very, very sturdy. Very sturdy and everything else. Very well done, very well made. They tie securely and everything else, make a nice tight knot, so I'm not leaking sand out everywhere. Excellent, excellent bags. I'm very, very happy with the bags. These I purchased from Misdemeanor and I. Misdemeanor found them at Ace Hardware. Great price, great quality, great ties, built right into the bag, so you don't have to worry about getting twine or anything else to do it with, and get the job done that way. So that's great. There's 25 in a bag of bags, right? Keep saying that, right? Why? Each one of those bags, like I said, is 1,000 pounds. I get about 25 sandbags out of 1,000 pounds of sand. So if you do the math on that, and trust me, I had to use a calculator to do the math, right? I don't want to think numbers. So it's 40 pounds per bag. So if I get about 25 bags out of one of these 1,000-pound bags, all of my bags should weigh roughly 40 pounds, which is, I did some research on the internet because I wanted to know, 40 pounds is about the proper weight for a bag, all right, based on the size of the bag and everything else. And this is they're not all the same size. Some are different widths and dimensions and everything else, but this is 15 inches by 27 inches or 38 centimeters by 68 centimeters, right? For this size bag or something that's, you know, pretty much the same rough dimensions on that, 40 pounds. 40 pounds is the right amount of weight for the bag. 35 to 45, I would have to say on that. But anyways, I get 25 bags full, on average, right about there, out of each 1,000-pound bags. A couple of the bags, I have a little bit of extra sand. On one sand, I think on all of them I had extra, as a matter of fact. So it gets better than 25 bags out of that, so about 40 pounds of bags. So that's great, and that's fantastic for my thing. Now, because I know now, yeah, after doing 75 bags or 74, one had a rip in it, and in all honesty, that could have been the point of my shovel accidentally touched the bag while I was lifting it up or something like that, and I may have put the rip in the bag myself, so I don't fault the maker of the bag for that. But if I'm getting 25 bags out of the 1,000-pound bags of sand, they all should be about 40 pounds and get the job done. But after about 74 bags the other day, I know that really I want to just do 50. A day is more than enough for me. I work by myself out here doing this stuff outside, so I just want to mention that. So I got my 50 bags out here today. I'm gonna be working through 2 of these bags and some of this leftover maybe to get my 50 bags full, and I'll take a break for the day. Now I also want to mention the shovel that I use for this. If you're using it one of these bags, right now, you see this is the width of the bag up here, right? So this is the width of the bag. This rough edge that you see through the bag up here, this rough edge, kind of looks like a funny scissor cut or something like that. Okay, that's the opening of the bag, so it's easy to identify the opening of the bag, easy to go, easy to use. They put a lot of thought into doing these, right? The simple things, they put a lot of thought into making them easy for us to use at the end user level. If you have something that's light and you open it up, the width gets thinner, right? So you don't want to use a full-size giant shovel to do these things. And I'm only doing a couple, 100 bags of these things. I'll get to the number in a second. I was trying to get there. I'll get there in a second. But you don't want to use a full-size shovel because it's going to be too wide. So this is a small shovel, almost like a kid's shovel, but it's for local gardening kind of stuff. Anything. It's metal, right? It's probably about 6 inches long or wide, right? It's the perfect size. I hold it at this right by the blade over here, and I just basically lean this against my arm. And I use that for assistance to help me steer and adjust my process of filling up the bag, right? So it's a very, very useful tool, a small shovel, or if you have a heavy duty, and it really would need to be heavy duty plastic, like a beach shovel kind of thing or something like that, play sand or something like that, or a sandbox, right? Heavy duty plastic might get the job done, but certainly a small shovel, even with those little really thin garden shovels would probably do it. But I determined about 16 shovelfuls, right? About 16 shovelfuls ends up being about 40 pounds and gets the job done. Maybe a little more, a little less, depending on how heavy the sand is where I'm digging in the bag, right? Now, if I get 25 bags out of these large 1,000-pound bags, more math, right? I've already done the math, so I don't have to think about it. There's 50 bags per pallet. So that's 50, 100, 150, 200, because you have a 4th pallet I've already emptied. You got the 74 bags here already. I get about 200 sandbags out of here. We have more than that because if any of these become damaged or anything else, we get a little, pre-planning for damage or whatever, then I can just sweep up the sand and replace it. Now, I want to talk about that too. In the position that I'm using these sandbags, if you look down over here, all right, you should see some cinder blocks over here, and you'll see the concrete slab. I'm actually making this wall on a concrete slab. I'm not telling you the purpose of the wall for that right now and everything else. Talk about it in a future video. But the reason why I'm making this wall on this slab is if a bag gets damaged, I can sweep up the sand. I don't lose it, right? Because I'm cheap that way. I can save the sand, put it in a new bag and reuse it, right? So that's the idea. If sandbags get damaged, we have some spare sandwiches. We have some more sandbags available. Sandwiches, I must be getting hungry. Anyways, so we got more sandbags, extra sandbags available, but we'll have the 200 out of these bags of sand here, get our bags for our wall and our purpose and everything else. I'll make a stand, when the thing's done, everything's done with it and everything else, I'll make a standalone video. I'll discuss the cinder blocks too, because they're part of the project. I think that probably about wraps this up. I want to mention 2 things. We had some special guest stars today. And pardon me, I'm going to get my microphone cable, which is actually tied up around all this. I want to step over my sandbag wall while it's still short and make a shot out here towards the barn. And it's a little crooked, but you see those little white dots out there? Those are the goats. Let me see if I can zoom in on them a little bit. See how this works. This is my camera zooming thing. So you see the goats out there? There they are. Let me see, I'm trying to point in front of the camera here. There we go. There's a goat. Maybe they're not in focus here. Maybe I touch the camera? Nope. All right, well, let me zoom back out. All right. Anyway, so my neighbor's goats are here, and they're fantastic. We love to see the goats. And there's 2 red-tailed hawks. If I didn't mention them earlier, I'll mention them now. There's 2 red-tailed hawks flying around. I saw them flying around. We got some crows flying around. What else we got flying around here? There's another bird. We got a woodpecker flying around. Usually these trees right here. I often see the woodpecker in these trees right here, or there's 2 palm trees over here to the left, or to the right of the camera, sorry. And just awesome. The wildlife here is fantastic. It's nice, it's quiet. I can hear traffic in the distance, hear airplanes flying into Orlando International. But it's real quiet out here, and we really greatly appreciate that. And my neighbor's goats have a free pass forever. I already told them. I I track down my neighbor and grab them and say, hey, look, your goats are coming on our property, but they're very much welcome here forever. And in fact, if you saw my earlier videos of the road to nowhere that was here, basically we had a double fence that went into another fence. There was nothing there. We don't know why it was there. We don't understand that logic why there's two fences. But I removed all the fences anyway. There's no fences here anymore. I removed them all except for around the other field. We'll talk about that later in another video. But back over here, on that other side of the palm tree there, if you follow that straight out, there's a hole in the gate, a hole in the fence out there. I made that hole in the fence. That's the road to nowhere, right? And I made that hole specifically for the goats so they don't have to walk as far to get over here. Now, there used to be an apartment on the property too. We had that removed because it wasn't set back from the road and everything. It was nasty. So we got rid of that, and there's no fence back there, so the goats could walk through there if they wanted to as well. But they have to walk through a little, low growth in there. I haven't cleaned that up yet to make it easy for them to get in and out. But that there, I maintain the goat gate, which is just basically a lack of a fence. I maintain that so the goats don't have to walk through any foliage or anything. They can come out here and have their snacks all day long. All right, so I'm gonna wrap this up, this Sandbags of Sandbags. And don't forget to give me a thumbs up, like this video, drop a note below, comment below, let me know you came by to say hi. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate the growth on the network. And until I catch you in the next video, take care and be well.